Sabotage and smear. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, when the press kept catching LBJ falsely describing the true state of the Vietnam War effort, it became known as his credibility gap. Repeated assurances of progress that didn't pan out only undermined support for the war at home. Well, fast forward now to present day, where another credibility gap is eroding public faith in almost everything that our so-called experts are saying, led by, of course, the establishment of both parties. Last night, we blew open the COVID lab leak cover-up where politicians, health officials, academics all refused to tell the full truth about the origins of COVID. And worse than that, instead of holding China accountable, these American officials smeared American doctors and yours truly and a few others. And rather than raising bloody hell about any of this, rather than demanding answers, the press helps the fraudsters cover their tracks. Now, this has led us to a very dangerous place where large segments of the public simply won't believe the establishment on much of anything. And can you blame them? Now, time and again, when our elites sense their narrative is about to be split wide open, they decide to attack the messenger.
I don't think I've ever seen a primetime cable news anchor manipulate his viewers the way Mr. Carlson did last night. I don't think I've ever seen an anchor treat the American people and American democracy with such disdain.
Oh, the dripping disdain coming off his lips. Like Schumer lecturing anyone on lies and manipulation, that is really rich. He's the one always trying to manipulate the facts. Remember, even after the Mueller report came out finding no evidence of collusion between Trump and Russia, Schumer refused to rule it out. And of course, Schumer repeatedly lied about Brett Kavanaugh just to try to keep him off the court. So how does Schumer or any of these individuals who've led our country into a ditch have any standing to claim the mantle of honesty and integrity over any issue of significance? I say we need more information released about all matters of public concern, not less, which is what an honest press used to demand. But now, the media, Democrats, and a few establishment Republicans, you know who you are, they're all crowing about the release of January 6th footage. The better question is, what were you and everyone else in power trying to hide these past 2 years? Was it the truth about your fake insurrection narrative? Does anyone think that any of these people were planning or capable of conducting a coup against the United States government? Come on. Now, for months, all the Democrats wanted to talk about it. January 6th, January 6th. They threw in Charlottesville every now and then, too. But now we're apparently supposed to accept everything they've ever said about it as the gospel? It's all true no matter what? Well, that's convenient. Yes, there were people who broke the law, who were violent, and they should be punished, as we said that very night. But there were others who were made examples of, political examples. Don't rally for someone like Trump again. You may be arrested for just walking through an open door and taking selfies.
9 o'clock in the morning, I am on my bed doing my emails, which I usually do. I can hear some ruckus going on in the other room, the kitchen / dining room area. So I get up, come around the corner, and I hear somebody barking, "Hands up, FBI." They proceeded to handcuff me, gave me no reasons why, of course, no search warrant. God forbid they present a search warrant.
6 o'clock in the morning, I hear boom, 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 boom. FBI, open the door, we'll knock it down. Yeah. One was pointing an assault rifle at my head about 4 feet away. And they said, "Please step outside." I stepped outside, they handcuffed me. I said, "What is this about?" And they said, "Search warrant." They never produced one, they never showed it.
And why were the Capitol Police so unprepared? Now, Tucker Carlson spoke to Tariq Johnson, a former police officer who was on the front lines on the Capitol on January 6th.
The frontline officers and supervisors were not prepared for that at all. I ran over to the Senate side to make sure those doors were locked. So I asked over the radio and I say something to the effect that we need direction. We have hundreds of people inside of the building. What do you want us to do? We need some direction. I heard no response. No response.
And why didn't the House and Senate leadership act on the intel agency's warnings before January 6th? I mean, forget Schumer. We know what he's all about. Why isn't Mitch McConnell demanding answers here? Well, he's not. Instead, he hit Fox today. And Mitch wonders why so many working people don't trust him? Why the Republican base doesn't like him? The establishment has no one to blame but themselves for the state of affairs our nation finds ourselves in. Whether it's the CDC, the vaccine mandates, or the Pentagon on what's happening in Ukraine, or Biden downplaying inflation throughout most of 2021, they've fallen into a trap, all these people of their own making. If they're not going to tell us the truth about China or the true state of our own economy, why would we trust them on anything else? Now, recall that without any evidence, many rushed out to accuse Russia of sabotaging its own pipeline last year. Remember, it took 7 years to build it. We told you that made no sense. Well, now intel agencies are finally beginning to come clean. It looks like a pro-Ukrainian group was involved. Now, we have not heard the end of this story, I promise you that. But the White House, they want to kick the can down the road.
Several of our European partners, in fact, 3 of them, Germany, Sweden, and Denmark, have already opened investigations into what happened with the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And those investigations are not closed. I'd have to refer you to each of those European countries to comment on their investigations.
Wait a second. Perhaps Kirby was unaware, but I mean, he's supposed to be kind of handling the White House briefing room stuff, not the EU briefing room. And his answer would be truly insulting to a truly independent press, but obviously that's not what we have. And again, LBJ's credibility gap destroyed his administration and caused Americans to lose faith in the Vietnam War. Today's establishment should also take heed. For the past 30 years, they've gotten the biggest issues wrong. From welcoming China into the WTO, to the Iraq War, to our open borders, to the COVID response, to the inflation explosion. Trump was making real progress across the board until the pandemic hit. And then the establishment tried everything to sabotage his agenda and smear him personally. So squandered credibility is very difficult to recover from. But instead of lectures and threats and complaints, let's have the truth. If your policies are so great, come on the show. Come on, the Angle will welcome you. Defend them. But if you can't defend your policies and you tried to hide the truth from the American people, you're just feeding the very political movement that you fear so much. And that's the Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube.